Have you ever heard of a trust fall? Well, this week there was this funny video of a boyfriend and a girlfriend trying to do this trust fall, which is when one person is supposed to allow themselves to fall backward and totally allow their weight to fall on the person behind them, and trusting that that person is going to catch them. What was funny about this video was that they were standing on the banks of a river, and the woman was ready to let herself fall, but instead of falling backward into the arms of her boyfriend, she falls forward right into the river. I don't know what the miscommunication was there, but in those trust falls, it can be a difficult thing to make yourself vulnerable and to believe that the person behind you is going to catch you, because it's really putting all your faith in that person, that they are going to have your back, literally, and catch you when you fall backward. And there was a time when it was really a fun thing to go around and just say trust fall really quick and try to get your friend to catch you in time. I wasn't really big into that. I guess I wasn't that trusting. But it's something that makes you vulnerable, and there's always a suspicion that that person won't catch you. And I think sometimes that same suspicion can be the way that we act with God. That we don't always trust that God has our back, that He won't always catch us when we fall, and that perhaps God's plan for us isn't for our good, or perhaps His plan isn't as good as the one that we have for ourselves. That's the way we can sometimes act with God, and that makes us to want to have control over everything in our life, that we don't want to give things over to God. But the truth is that God is always for us, that He's always for His people. And that theme of God being for us and for our good is found throughout all of Scripture. And today we see it in the book of Genesis and in our gospel. Today we hear of Jacob's dream, of the stairway to heaven. And within that, we hear God's voice telling Jacob that I will bless your inheritance. I will bless your descendants and make you the light to all nations of the world. Make you a blessing to all nations of the world. And He says that I will always be there to protect you. I will always be there with you. God always wanting to bless. And then we see Jesus in the gospel, who goes immediately when the royal official comes to him asking him to heal his daughter who has died. He says, he doesn't say anything, he goes right with him. And on the way, he heals the woman with a hemorrhage, says, "Courage, daughter, your faith has saved you." Jesus' intention is always to heal, always to bless, always to make us whole. That is what God's intention is for us today and every day. The thing about it is that kind of love that God has for us, for our good, is not coercive. It does not force us to take part in that God is always willing to allow us to say no. So we must ask. We must even more put our confidence, our trust in God, even when it's difficult, even when it makes us feel vulnerable. Because when we are vulnerable with God, it allows us to experience His great love and power working through us. So we can take today's psalm response perhaps as our prayer. In you, O Lord, I put my trust. In you, O Lord, I put my trust, that we might fall confidently into the loving arms of our God and Father.